Hey guys, thank you for joining us on Fresh from the Showroom Floor. My name is Eric, and today I have a special guest. He's one of our sales consultants here. His name's Creed.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. He's going to show us some Panerai models today. I don't know much about Panerai at all. He loves Panerai. It's one of his favorite brands. So I'm going to let him kind of teach me and you guys a little bit about each model that we have here. We have a ton of different models, but he specifically picked a bunch of these models because these ones stood out to him. So Creed, take it away, my friend, and show us what we got.
We've got three different models here today. We've got Luminor, Luminor 1950, and a Radiomir. One of the first ones we're going to start with is the PAN 00434, which is the California dial. This is a 72-hour power reserve dual barrel, which means it has two springs inside the movement to keep it running for 72 hours. Most manual line watches only run for about 36 to 42 hours. Panerai obviously wanted their watches to be exactly precise from the time you wind it to the time that it goes dead. So Panerai has the exclusive ability to be able to keep time perfectly for up to 72 hours. And one of the things that makes this watch unique is it has the Roman and Arabic numeral dial. This has been called the California dial because there was a watch dial remaker in California who used to restore in the 1970s when vintage watches became popular the dials for Rolex. Rolex was the dial creator for Panerai back in 1936 when they were looking for dials to make for the Italian Navy as a dive watch. So I'm gonna hand this to you.
Man, this is so cool. It's just nice and simple. Like, there's a lot of character to it as well, but it just feels like you look at it and it just takes you back to just a simpler time. There's not a lot of writing on it. There's not even a Panerai logo on there other than the logo on the bottom at 6 o'clock.
That's right. The original Panerais, when they were issued in 1936 to 1942, didn't have Panerai on the dial.
That's so cool, man. It's just such a nice watch. I know it's not a vintage watch, but it definitely gets that like vintage feel. Like, I feel like this is something that's thrown in like a time machine.
This was actually a display dial that Rolex gave to Panerai, so this wasn't actually used for
Wow.
dialing. This was something that Panerai used as a mock dial, which is why this is actually called the California. It actually has California in the Rehaut ring around the inside. So just above the 12, if you look in there, it says California right
Oh,
up top.
yeah. Sure enough, 12 o'clock, California.
One of the things that makes the Radiomir even more special is the wire lug. Originally, these were welded onto the case. That wasn't the best thing because what would happen is they would actually rust in the salt water, as you can imagine, from Navy special teams divers. So they actually had to cut, each time they had to change the strap off of the case of the watch. These don't have that. They actually have screws here now to keep the rust down and to be able to change them at home.
Cool.
So you can change them with a tool on your own.
Wow, makes it nice and easy.
This one also has an acrylic crystal too, just like the originals did. It wasn't until later that they had the sapphire.
So it's a throwback from the future. Cool.
Yeah.
Now this one's my favorite.
This is the PAN 00438 Tuttonero, or in Italian, all black.
Cool.
It's a GMT model. It's fully ceramic. It's not the new composite body.
Okay.
There's a difference. The new composite body looks like the ceramic body, but it's made of a completely different material. It's made out of aluminum. The aluminum is sintered to give it a black color. It's a completely different animal. This is 100% ceramic, not only from the case, but also from the bracelet too.
Wow.
If you'll notice, one of the things that I failed to point out on the original one, the crystal case back, you can see the movement in it. You can also do that on this one too. This one happens to be an automatic. This is a GMT, so obviously it takes care of not only giving you the current time zone, but a secondary time zone as well. I'm gonna give you that.
This is something so cool. You don't see too many black watches.
Not
and
all
I
black.
feel like this one is just so clean, and they did, yeah, it's just such a, it's light, but it's not like light. It's still substantial, and it's just something that you can wear with just about anything. It's so cool. Like,
If you don't know a lot about Panerai, there are two distinguishing differences between the Radiomir and the Luminor. And by the way, Panerai has dropped two designations from their description of their watches. They now call it the Luminor across all series. When this was made, this is called a Luminor 1950. And the reason that is because it has a patented and trademarked what they call crown bridge. The way that you check, I'm going to set this watch down here. The way that you check how to set the watch is you pull the crown bridge open, and unlock it.
Okay.
So what that does is that frees up the ability to wind the watch and to set the watch. And then you close the crown bridge back. What that does is that actually increases the water resistance value, because these actually were allowed to be used to dive a lot deeper as time went on. This is called the Luminor 1950. They don't distinguish that anymore. They call everything a Luminor now.
Wow.
The original had the screw down crown. It actually screws in against the body. A lot of people refer to this as the onion crown because of the way that it's shaped.
I'm just drawn in by that watch. Every time I look at it, it just speaks to me. It's just so cool. Like I said, you don't see black watches ever, and something that's you know that it's a great watch, you know that it's a great brand, and they just went with the all black version. It's absolutely amazing, because they make a stainless version, right?
That's absolutely true.
Yes. Okay.
They also make a titanium version.
Okay. Cool.
One other thing to note about this watch is it has the dial, which is called a sandwich dial. That means there's 2 layers. In the original days, in order to get the radium, they don't use radium anymore. These use superluminova in order to glow, not only on the hands but also on the numbers of the dial. In order to get these to glow early days, they would paint the entire subdial with a radium overcoat, then lay a secondary dial which has actually been carved out. One of the ways that you'll know the difference between certain dials, whether they're a sandwich dial or not, if you'll notice that the 9 and the 6, the circles don't touch for obvious reasons, because if you cut the entire circle out, there would just be a solid hole.
Yeah.
So the numbers don't actually touch each other when the 6 comes around and the 9 comes around.
Yeah, they don't touch each other, and you can see through it. It's not like it's on top of the dial. You can definitely tell that it's under the dial.
That's right.
On this watch.
That's right.
Cool. And what's the last one we have here?
So the last one is really interesting. This is a standard Luminor, and the reason we say that I say it's a standard Luminor is because it doesn't have the trademarked and patent pending, the patented markers on the actual crown bridge. One of the things that this watch has that other watches don't have, this one, if you'll notice, says Paneristi on the crown bridge.
Yeah, it says Paneristi.
That's because that's a 15th anniversary Paneristi blogger watch. So
Okay.
there's a fellow that runs a blog called Paneristi and has for a long time, obviously, right? So when this watch came out, it was exclusively designed for him. There was only 500 available, and it was only available at Panerai boutiques. So when they made this watch, they asked him what would be all the qualities that he wanted from one of their Luminors. This one has the antiqued dial, the blue OP logo, or Officine Panerai logo, and Paneristi on the crown bridge. None of the other watches have Paneristi on the crown bridge.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, this one apparently was never worn. We still have the original tags, the original sales tags, and this clearly has never been worn.
Wow.
This is a truly special piece. If you're a Paneristi, if you have a lot of Panerais in your collection, which is what Paneristi has become as a meaning, then you'll definitely want to have this as part of your collection.
Cool.
You can also, one of the great things about all of the Panerais, no matter which collection it is, whether it's the Luminor 1950, or the Radiomir, or the Radiomir 1940, which we don't have here. We can talk about the 1940 later. You can change out all of the straps. You can change them from the synthetic rubber,
Right.
or the caoutchouc. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't speak Italian very well. And
It's
I'm sure
okay.
there's somebody laughing about that.
I couldn't tell you what it was.
Caoutchouc means rubber in Italian. So
Wow.
the rubber strap, the leather strap, and of course there's a myriad of different colors of crocodile straps that are available for these as well.
Cool. Out of these 3, which one would you put on your wrist and wear for this weekend?
I think without question the California dial.
I would say so.
This 47 millimeter watch, by the way, I think that's important to note.
Yeah.
The California dial is Radiomir. It's the early days case. So 47 millimeters is the only way to go because it shows absolutely everything about the case.
I think we know which one I would take home. Since you took that one, I would definitely go with this ceramic. It's something, like I said, I've never ever seen something just look as nice in person. I've seen it online, I've seen it in different magazines, videos, YouTube stuff, but to actually see it and put it on your wrist is something special. It's something that I never get to see. So I was actually really, really happy when this came into our showroom and I was able to present it to you guys. And other than that, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for joining us, and Creed, thanks for stopping by and sharing some knowledge, because I knew none of that. And now I feel like I can go home and quiz every one of my family members on Panerai. So with that said, subscribe to us. Bottom right of this video, there will be a link. Make sure you subscribe to us. You'll see plenty more videos from SwissWatchExpo, fresh from the showroom floor. We'll have Creed stop by and show us a few other timepieces. He loves Breitling as well, so
Right.
Yeah, he loves Breitling, so I'm sure he'll be here to talk to us about some of those models. And until next time, my friends, thank you for joining us.
What watch do you want to see next time?